Hello and welcome back to From the BON. This is a rapid reaction to Burnley 2, Fulham 3 at Turf Moor. 7 straight defeat for the Clarets, their worst run of top-flight form since the 19th century. Joining me is Paul Woodhouse, looking a little bit 19th century, I have to say there.
You're welcome. I've done it on purpose.
And Darren Bentley, that's straight into it all. I mean, that was, I don't know where to start with that one, really. I mean, some of the defending in that game was extraordinary, and it started off with their first goal, really, didn't it?
Yeah, I just put something on X a little while ago that I feel conflicted because we haven't created as many chances in a game all season, I don't think, and yet we've never looked as fragile in a match. It was just, from the first corner they had, it was an absolute shit show, wasn't it? Let's put it right. Let's have it right. I mean, I don't even know where. You're right. Where do you start? You could single out individuals, but I'd be here singling out probably 9 to 10. Just collectively, we're just not good enough for it. We can't keep the ball out of the net. Our midfield trio don't offer any protection to the back four, and up front we're wasteful when we do get chances. When they do come, I mean, it's rare they come along anywhere, but when they do, we're so wasteful. It was just, if ever a day summed up our season, it was that. And then Marcus Edwards putting that throwing out right at full time summed up the whole season, encapsulated it in one moment. It was a shit show, and we are going down. I said it since day one, and I am even more convinced now. I don't know where the next point's coming from, lads, and I'm trying to be positive because I say I'm conflicted. We've created a lot of chances, but
you're not really trying to be positive, Daz. Come on,
I'm trying to be balanced, but it's hard to be balanced when you're that naive and fragile and unprofessional.
Yeah, I mean, they're strong words, Woody, but it's hard to argue with them, isn't it? I mean, that first goal, I mean, the lad loses Ekdal as his marker and then sort of weaves his way past about 3 stationary Burnley defenders before tapping it in. I mean, that was just a ridiculous goal to concede.
It's just basics, isn't it? You know, and it was also very soft, like a very warm marshmallow today. It's like there's no excuse for that level of defending. And that second, how the fuck has he got up there? You know, it's just embarrassingly poor. You'd almost concede that it's like they want to get Parker sacked. The only person who gave a shit today was Josh Cullen, and he was still shit. You know, at least he was bollocking everybody. Everybody else was just like wandering around, annoying, and it was a very poor performance from that perspective. And it's like, once you stop seeing the fight, yes, there was a little bit of intensity, but once it had gone, they'd completely gone. And we're going down. It's as simple as that. I mean,
look, it feels like Scott Parker's rolled every dice that he has now. You know, he's tried Breuer. He's dropped Hartman. He's been forced to bring Hartman back in because Puris gets suspended. He's tried Chowner on the right wing. He's tried JBL there. He still hasn't tried starting with Marcus Edwards, but he keeps dropping him on when we're 3-1 down or something like that.
He starts with Foster out there today. Out there. We never called that one, did we?
Foster, honestly. He's a League One centre forward, and I don't know what quality you put him on as a left winger. I don't know. I mean that, but. You know, you look at it and think they aren't good enough, and you can point the finger at recruitment for that. That's one maybe for tomorrow's podcast, and we've gone through it before, the mistakes made in recruitment and so on. But Parker has been trying, hasn't he, to try different things, and none of it's working. And the result of doing that is that while we looked, you know, games we were losing earlier on in this run, where we looked, you know, we knew what lineup, you know, Jadon Anthony was going to be on the left, and we knew what sort of lineup we would have. Suddenly, it just looks a bit of a mess now, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, now it looks like we don't know our best 11. We touched for a long while about us having a core of 12 or 13 and a supplementary squad of 6 or 7. I'm not sure even Parker knows now. And I wouldn't lay all the blame at Parker's door. You're right there. I think that he's been badly let down by his players. You know, Jamie Redknapp calling out Hartman's absolutely spot on tonight on Sky for not running back and tracking Harry Wilson for the second. I would add that Breuer should take out Sander Berg on his own box when he's on the counter before it even gets to that stage. Because Joachim Andersen didn't have any qualms in taking out Breuer on the halfway line in the first half. We're just too nice. We're just nice to play against. And the number of times they played 1-2, pop, 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 and they're right in on our back four. with no midfield protection whatsoever. Flotorino wandering around all over the place. Ogachoku at least I thought was okay at times.
Yeah.
Just, it's hard to put in words how bad it was. And he must now be thinking, Parker, what can I do? Because as you said, Sam, he's trying most things.
I don't think there is much he can do, personally. I mean, I don't know. I mean, he's brought Mike Tresor on into a sort of sweeper in front of the back four. I mean, talk about trying things. I mean, at least that gave some light relief to the crowd. I mean, the only time I heard the Burnley fans on that broadcast was when they were like olaying Mike Tresor's touches. I mean,
ironic olays.
Well, yeah, we're getting to that stage because it's getting to a stage now where if we actually defend a corner where we're cheering,
Yeah.
and then we're olaying when Tresor's got the ball. The fans are trying to entertain themselves now.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, Woody, I mean, there's all these debates been going on online about Scott Parker. We've said for quite a while, premature, you can't blame Parker, and we point the finger more at the recruitment team and giving Parker time, and then you hear other people saying, well, who'd do a better job than him? You hear other people say, well, at least he'll get us back up next year, as though that's some sort of automatic God-given thing that if you've won promotion once before, you're going to do it again. I know he's done it more than once, but I mean, I'm looking at that today and I'm thinking, put the bugger out of his misery. I mean, what can he do?
I mean, you've got January coming up. That's about it. But what does that necessarily solve? It's that stick or twist thing, isn't it? It depends. What are they planning for internally? Who are they planning on like offloading? Should we go down? Are they planning on injecting a load of money? Do they want like Scott Parker to play around with it? That's the decision now that they've got to be thinking about, isn't it? But yeah, I mean, from going from the most cautious manager we've probably ever seen to the most ridiculous lineups, and the fact that Tresor's managed to get a run out today goes to show just how desperate it's all gotten. So I have no idea. I've genuinely no idea. And to be fair, barring those two defensive aberrations, and they were defensive aberrations, would have probably come out, on top.
Well, I mean, it does feel like 3-2 almost flatters us, doesn't it, really? But, I mean, Daz, if the club are sat there now at the board, they've got to be thinking tonight about what they do. I mean, in the sense that if you make a change, if you're not giving up on this season, and the board shouldn't be giving up on this season yet, it's within their power to turn things around. If you're looking to the January window, you've got a team that looks demoralised now, and they do, don't they? I mean, these lads will go through a brick wall for him and everything. Doesn't look like that at the moment. If you make the change now, you can bring a manager in who's got that Bournemouth game and that Everton game to have a look at what he's got, which will be a fun process for him, and then make decisions together with the board, you would hope, in January. If not, you're going into January with Scott Parker, and that's kind of it, really, isn't it? I mean, there's no point, if you're going to get rid of Scott Parker, there's no point getting rid of him in March.
It would be astonishing if they're not having conversations. It would be astonishing if they're not having conversations. I'm not sure I still think it's the right thing to do. I still think there's mileage in Parker, but they'd be stupid not to be having those conversations. But you've got to identify who you want. You can't just get rid and then say, right, let's have a piece of paper and put some names on it. They have to have a bit of an idea of what they want before they look. Because again, you've got to bring a manager in who's got a recruitment, who's got a policy of playing the way that the players he's got. Because at the minute, if you throw the dice again and bring a completely radical new manager in who's got a different way of playing, he's then got to adapt that squad. I mean, you're right to point the finger at recruitment all day long because, we're in the fourth instalment of the Foster experiment. If Jacob Brun-Lawson coming about as the answer, I don't know what the question was. So there's a lot to go at in the recruitment, but I'm still not convinced getting rid of Parker's the answer. This side needs somehow to start running the hard yards for a start and concentrating. We talked about a 90-minute performance on the pod before the game. Put a 90-minute performance because we haven't done it all season. There's another game gone. We've put probably two 20-minute performances in. We're just pissing the games away. And you're right about what Cullen's the ringleader. He's sort of, he's waving the baton and trying to drive people forward. I thought Jacob Lawson was okay today, to be fair. First half, died out of the game a little bit, but he was okay. Ogochukwu was decent first half. But we're so fragile, aren't we? Any time a side gets
soft,
getting on the ball,
yeah,
we're completely soft underbelly. So, but long-winded answer to a short question. I'm not sure that they will sack Parker. I'm not sure they should sack Parker, but they'd be stupid not to be thinking about it.
I mean, if they haven't got anyone lined up, Woody, I mean, it's a good point, that, isn't it? If they haven't got anyone lined up, and it takes them as long as it's done in the past, I mean, it'll be Mike Jackson who's leading us out against Everton if they sack him. So, you mean, it's kind of that situation now, isn't it, where we'll find out whether they've been doing any lining up of people or anything like that. But would you be pressing the button? I'm going to ask you now, aren't I? Yeah. Would you be pulling the trigger, Woody?
It's one of those, isn't it? It's like, you know what's coming. I mean, barring a minor miracle, this side ain't getting out of, this particular relegation scrap. And it's also, do you really want to give him, the financial wherewithal to do that piece of recruitment? It's like, I've genuinely no idea. Because who is going to turn it around? Who genuinely is going to turn it around? So it's, in a way, it's pointless. But then again, it's just a slow, long, inevitable death to relegation. And then he gets potted, doesn't he? It's one of the...
You touched on the fact that Parker's rolled all the dice. That's the only dice that ALK have got. The only dice they've got now is change of manager.
And I want him to succeed. I do. But he hasn't.
I mean, unless they've identified... I mean, to be honest, you probably need half a dozen new players. But unless you've identified 2 or 3 key players that you've agreed with Scott Parker that you're bringing in, that you're confident will make a difference in January and turn things around and get us just edged out to that bottom 3. That's the only reason I think that you can turn around and say, you know what, we've got a plan with Scott Parker. This is what it is. But I'm not sure that they have. I don't know.
Well, you need a couple of defenders. For a start, you'd need a couple of defenders in January, and they must have their eye on some defenders, surely. I mean, I've just done some stats. We've conceded more than 2 goals now in 11 of our 16 matches, and 6 times in the last 7. So the ship is not just listing now; it's completely sinking. It's hull below the waterline, isn't it?
Yeah.
Esteve looks a shell of a player.
Yeah.
Gal was so bad today, it's untrue. Twanzebe's not convincing anybody. Hartman's looking more fragile by the week. We so missed Kyle Walker today, and he's made a few mistakes recently.
Yeah.
You're just pointing everywhere, aren't you?
Yeah. Son took his goal well. That's one little bright spot.
Yeah, he did.
Well, there were 2 very nice goals.
They both took the goals well.
Yeah.
And we created enough chances to get something out of that game today. That's the worrying thing.
Yeah, that's the point, isn't it? You look at those stats, and it's, what do we have? 52% of the possession. Better XG than they did.
Every metric. We're better in every metric, Woody.
And that just simply hasn't happened all season, has it? So even when we do go on the front foot, it's not.
8 shots on target today. When have we had 8 shots on target this season?
Yeah.
We haven't had that cumulatively in a month.
So you've got to give Parker a little bit of credit for at least changing things around to that extent.
I mean, Jamie Redknapp spotted one of our problems, and other people have mentioned Hartman's defending over the last few weeks as well. Some of the listeners contacted privately, expressing, question marks when some of us on here were praising him. I tell you what, though, Woody, and I know just as a slight diversion, for those of us who watch the games in America or people who may watch American broadcasts when they shouldn't be, Tim Howard, what is he on about? It's Tim Howard, the former Everton goalkeeper and Manchester United USA goalkeeper, who's been a pundit on NBC for quite a few years now. He comes on and Rebecca Law asks him, what's gone on at Burnley? They had the best defence in the Championship last year, and they're conceding goals left, right and centre. And he says, well, they come up and try and play this expansive football. Honestly,
nothing to do with Haaland and Saka and people like that being in the league.
Yeah.
He did mention the difference in quality. But, of course, it's a completely different Burnley defence. I mean, there's one player in that back 4 or 5 today who were in last year's defence. We had to sell his best centre-half.
Yeah, it had nothing to do with quality today, did it?
No.
The fact that you just could not do the basics at the near post and that you couldn't manage to compete for an header for the second, that's got nothing to do with quality whatsoever, you know. And that's the disappointing thing.
Championship team can score a goal like that,
Yeah, exactly.
third one on the break.
Yeah.
And that second one, we touched on it already, that second one, all three centre-backs, I'll include Transabi in there, all three centre-backs are within a yard of the goal, of the guy who scores a goal. And not one of them jumps.
It's not good. It's not good. Well, we'll be back tomorrow to go into it in more depth in the debrief and discuss all the big picture, Scott Parker's future and any developments that might happen in the meantime on tomorrow's podcast. In the meantime, do leave your comments in the YouTube comments. It's a good place to debate. Tell us if you think we're talking tripe or not, or whether you agree with us, or what you think of Woody's hat, or anything you want. We'll try and get in touch with you there as reply when we can as well. So, oh dear, it's going to be a long season, isn't it? Up the Clarets.